and welcome to The Bad Word with David Shelton. I am your host, Drizzy Drake, and I know when the hotline bling. Hey, yeah. Anyway, we got a great show. Let's start with the Benghazi hearing. That was a fun time. Last week, Hillary Clinton was questioned about her involvement and her knowledge of the September 11th, 2012 attacks on the U.S. consulate building in Benghazi, in a hearing that was led by Trey Gowdy. Now, 4 Americans died in the attack, and for some reason, Republicans felt that because Hillary was Secretary of State at the time, that she must have had prior knowledge of the events and just neglected to do anything about it. Okay, sure. But the hearing didn't really go Republicans' way. After 11 hours of questioning, Hillary Clinton didn't really seem fazed at all. She laughed off and dismissed a lot of the questions. Half of them she's already answered several times before. And to make things worse, this was more or less a witch hunt for Hillary Clinton to make her look bad for her campaign for the president in 2016, and it did not do that. They were trying to make her look bad, and all they did was make her look strong. More people support Hillary Clinton now than they did before the Benghazi hearing, the Benghazi hearing, including me. Yeah, I am a die-hard Bernie Sanders supporter. Hashtag feel the burn. Hashtag Sanders 2016. And yet, I feel myself feeling bad for Hillary Clinton. And I don't like that very much, Republicans, you dicks. Now, I looked into this for like 5 minutes, and I did some digging, and I felt, 4 Americans died, that's bad. Maybe someone should get to the bottom of it. So like I said, I did like 5 minutes of research, and I found that one possible reason that the U.S. consulate building wasn't as protected as it could have been was because Republicans in 2011 and in 2012 cut President Obama's $2.15 billion defense budget for the consulate in Benghazi. So $2.15 billion, they cut that. They didn't cut it by a little bit. They cut it by over $400 million. And yet, this is somehow Hillary Clinton's fault. Sure. Now, this entire episode has just been a disaster for Republicans. I mean, we've had 7 investigations, 13 hearings regarding the attack, and we haven't really discovered anything new. Like, after all this, after more investigations, and we've had Tupac albums, which is an absolute national tragedy, we're still back at square one. Like, Republicans have gone to the ends of the earth to rake Hillary Clinton over the coals. And for what? Like nothing came out of this. And yet, when Governor George W. Bush, when we lost 3,000 people in the September 11th attack that happened under his watch, he didn't get 7 investigations and 13 hearings regarding that. He didn't have to suffer through an 11-hour hearing. Hell, knowing his attention span, he couldn't go on through 11 seconds. But he didn't have to go through all of that. He got to do whatever he wanted to do. All we got after September 11th, 2001 was the TSA, the theft of American liberties and freedoms known as the Patriot Act, government fear-mongering and media hysteria, and 2 wars that we put on a goddamn credit card. Where's your investigation in that, Trey Gowdy? Anyway, moving on. The biggest Uncle Tom in human history and walking, talking Quaalude, Ben Carson, released a rap ad for his presidential campaign this past week. Ben, if you're watching this, which I really hope you are, why? Why would you do that? Like, what? Come on. Leave the shameless pandering to black people, to people like Donald Trump and Mike Huckabee, and maybe Marco Rubio, Hillary Clinton. Like, don't, just don't. This is one of the reasons I hate politics, and one of the biggest problems politics has. It's all this shameless pandering, but like no one talks about issues. Like none of the candidates are really genuine. It's all, I don't know. It's just annoying. Like there's really only one candidate who I can say doesn't, I don't know, like, he doesn't pander. He doesn't go on SNL to be one with the millennials. He's not putting rap songs in his ad to appeal to black voters. He doesn't fuck his cousin to appeal to Southerners. He talks about real issues, and that man is Bernie Sanders. Hashtag feel the burn. Hashtag the other thing. I'm sick of doing the hashtags. Just know I love you, Bernie. I fucking love you. Now, the great thing about Bernie Sanders is that he doesn't just talk, he doesn't pander. He brings issues to light, and he talks about how, if he's elected, that change. And that is what has gotten lost in American politics. Think about that. Now, moving on yet again. Last week was Halloween. And what I wanted to do something a little scary. A scary story, if you will. So, what's scarier than online dating? The human cesspool. Now, online dating is huge, but it wasn't always that way. Online dating had kind of a bad reputation. Like, one of the stereotypes for online dating was that for every real person you may be talking to, you're probably talking to, or there are probably 50 Jared Fogels out there waiting to give you the old $5 footlong. Another stereotype about online dating was that for every guy who looked like, or who said that he looked like Chris Martin, in reality probably looked like George R.R. Martin. But the thing about online dating is that it has changed. It's become a lot more normal. Like, so normal that it's fucking huge well, everywhere, especially in America. In 2013, it was estimated that there are 1 in 10 Americans on over 1,400 websites and apps that include, but are not limited to, Tinder, OkCupid, Christian Mingle, Plenty of Fish, Relatives, FarmersOnly.com, eHarmony, and I shit you not, Zombie Harmony. That is actually a thing, and I'm going to read some of the profiles that I found when I looked this up. First, Hungry Barbara. Let's see, she's cute. Her interests include gnawing, chasing injured people, hanging out in dimly lit stairwells. Her dislikes include Molotov cocktails, baseball bats, and getaway boats. Who else? Loves to cuddle, who enjoys lumbering, staring vacantly, and of course, cuddling. His dislikes include sniper fire, barricaded windows, and fast-moving automobiles. And let's see. Oh, here's my favorite. Need to feed. That's a number 2. Just for future reference. Need, number 2, feed. You see, his interests include the apocalypse, dense populations, and looking at kitten photos online. His dislikes include disembodied heads, ironically enough, and skanky girls. So yeah, if you want a gentleman, Need to Feed is the one for you. Yeah. Anywho, Tinder. Tinder alone boasts over 50 million users, like, overall. That's a lot of fucking people. And just a few more things. In 2013, again, it was estimated that 66% of people who had used an online dating site had gone on at least one date with someone they met there. Also, nearly a third of marriages began on an online dating site. From 2005 to 2013, the number of people who said that online dating was a good way to meet people, it increased from 44% to 59%. Online dating is becoming a more normalized part of our digital age culture, whatever you want to call it. The problem is that it hasn't gotten that much safer. Speaking of safer, I had to fix that. I don't think you'll mind. Now, speaking of safer, Tinder. We'll just start with Tinder. If you've ever used Tinder, you've probably heard of something called tindersafer.com. If you haven't, here is a little overview. So you're on Tinder, you're swiping, you swipe right, and you swipe right with someone who's fairly attractive, and you guys match. Awesome. So you can start a conversation with them, or they might start a conversation with you. But like early on in the conversation, they question whether or not you are the real person here. And so they're suspicious, and then they link you to something called tindersafer.com. They do this to get you verified as a real person. Now, it actually sounds like a good idea. You know, a website you can go to see if someone is who they say they are. I guess that's how you say that. But the problem here is that if you follow that link, it takes you to something, I don't even know if it's actually Tinder Safer or whatever it is. It takes you to something that you have to enter your credit card into, and at that point, consider yourself screwed. That's not all Tinder is doing to fuck you. There's another Tinder scam in which, again, you're swiping, you match with someone who's pretty attractive, and she, or possibly he, I don't know. From my research perspective, it's only been she, just throwing that out there. But she will say something to the effect of, you are really cute or handsome or sweet. You should join me on this hot, fun new app. I'm feeling naughty tonight. I promise not to ever do that again. I'm sorry. But what happens is that the app takes you to like a webcam site. And again, you have to give your credit card info. And again, consider yourself screwed. And also, your self-esteem takes a hit because apparently you're not cute, you're not handsome, or sweet. Fuck you. Anyway, now, online dating may be gaining in popularity, but like I said, it hasn't really gained as much as it should in safety. People have lost money, they've been sexually assaulted, and they've even been killed. Now, just in terms of money, in 2013, the Internet Crime Complaint Center looked at all complaints relating to money from online daters. Overall, there were just over 6,000 complaints, most of which came from women between the ages of 40 and 59. The total losses just in 2013 were reached over $81 million. That means these 6,000 people were robbed of more money than E Network when they signed the Kardashians to an $80 million contract. This is going to be our last show because I'm going to fucking kill myself after having to read that. Anyway, it's gotten to the point, online dating, I should say, has gotten to the point where we have a TV show. A TV show about people getting tricked by other online daters, or whatever you want to call them. The show is called Catfish. The premise of it is that one person is tricked by another, so that I guess they call the catfish guys. Not sure what the fuck you would even call them, but you call those guys, and then they try to expose the person you believe is a catfish or not who they say they are, and blah, blah, blah. Now, the most infamous of these catfishing scams, whatever, is an ex-college, now pro football player named Manti Te'o. He was involved in a relationship with a woman that he met online, and it turned out that the woman didn't exist. Now, to be fair, considering that he was a college athlete, the guy honestly could have been tricked by a mop with a picture of someone's face on it. But that doesn't change the fact that catfishing people is wrong, and it's just terrible. But catfishing, that's probably the least of your worries. At least you haven't lost money, or at least you haven't been sexually assaulted or murdered. Now, because, of course, online dating is a huge breeding ground for sexual predators. Researchers estimated that 25% of rapists found their victims online. Just how about Jeffrey Marsalis, a Philadelphia nursing student? He was conning women that he met on Match.com, and he was convicted of sexual assault. He faces up to 20 years in prison, and he's going to have to register as a sex offender, which is great that he was brought to justice. The problem is that even though he was convicted of all that stuff, he was still acquitted of drugging and raping women. Jesus Christ. Guys, this is literally the Bill Cosby of online dating. But anyway, the victim, one of his victims who was interviewed, said that she met another man on a Christian dating site. What's really sad, this isn't even her only encounter. She met someone else on a Christian dating site who was apparently dating 60 different women from 25 different sites, and he stole thousands from them. And also, how about Ashley Madison? This was the dating site for married people. The fuck are people going to think of next? Anyway, Ashley Madison earlier this year was hacked. Now, I guess the hackers, maybe they thought that they were doing something noble, exposing cheaters for the lying sacks of shit that they are. But, I mean, you ruined marriages, and you made divorce attorneys rich. Probably really rich. So it's yeah, you screwed over one group of lying scum, but while doing that, you also bolstered another group of lying scum. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, online dating can even get you killed. That's just the sad truth. And it's not I'm sure it's not, 1 out of every 3, but there are still too many instances where people were killed from someone they met online. There are too many instances to be comfortable with that. Let's just take a look at the few incidents that I have right here. Let's see, a French woman who happened to be diabetic. She was buried alive by a Moroccan man she met online. Now, what happened here is that she slipped into a diabetic coma, and he thought she was dead. But instead of calling an ambulance, he thought it would be more responsible to bury her. Okay, sure. Of course, she suffocated and died. Now, a widowed Australian grandmother sent a South African man over $200,000 in cash and gifts over a 4-year period. Now, somehow she had enough money to go visit him, and she was also found dead, and her possessions were nowhere to be found as well. Let's see, what else? A 35-year-old Indian man met a woman via an escort service, and it was an online escort service. And these two met at a Wendy's, and then they got a hotel room, and then the man was murdered and robbed by the woman and her 3 accomplices. A 39-year-old British woman met a man online who moved himself into her apartment after one date, and then she was found dead just a couple of days later. A woman briefly dated a man she met on Match.com. It's Match.com yet again. Then she broke up with him. Okay, didn't work out. She breaks up with him, fine. Problem is that he hid in her garage and he stabbed her at least 10 times. The good part about this story is that she survived and she sued Match.com for $10 million. The bad part is that she lost her case. But the other good part is that the asshole who failed in killing her succeeded in killing himself in prison. So yeah, he didn't have his day in court, but at least he's dead. So hey, silver linings, right? Now, online dating can be a good thing for people. I think online dating is actually great for people who have social anxiety or are socially awkward, or for people who just haven't had the best luck. Finding someone who's tailored to your likes and your interests and your personality, that's got to be great. But I mean, people shouldn't have to pay a price just because they want human companionship. Now, there are definitely a lot of ways you can stay safe. Some are include, but probably aren't limited to, meet in public and be sure to arrive separately. Let the relationship grow slowly if you need to. If you have trust issues and you just don't feel like meeting someone after one day, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'd like to talk for a week or 2 weeks just to get to know you better. And just, don't be afraid to go slow. Also, don't follow any unknown links. Just don't. Trust your instincts. If you get a bad vibe from someone, just politely decide to cut contact. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Don't give too much information too quickly. Don't tell where you work or your mother's maiden name or your social security number. Just keep the information to everything on a need-to-know basis. And I guess most importantly, never, under any circumstances, give anyone any money at all. Not $100, not $1, not a quarter, not a fucking penny. Just don't give anyone any money. Just don't do it. I mean it. Don't fucking do it. Now, our last story is one that's actually kind of near and dear to my heart. Last week, last week, whenever the fuck this airs, I'm just going to say last week, Ohio attempted to become the 5th state in the union to legalize marijuana. And it failed. But I'm not too mad about it. And let me explain why. Now, the issue was issue 3. and it would allow people over the age of 21 with a license to grow, sell, cultivate up to and keep up to 8 ounces of marijuana. It lets people with certain debilitating conditions to use medical marijuana. It allows people without a license to grow and share and cultivate up to 1 ounce of marijuana. But the kicker, the thing that did it for me was that this bill only allowed 10 buyer-seller properties for the entire state. So it's basically 10 dispensaries across the entire state of Ohio. My neighborhood alone has 10 liquor stores. What the fuck are people gonna do with 10 places to buy pot across the entire state? Like, to me, personally, that's bullshit, and that is exactly why I was against this law. Now, I want pot to be legal. Desperately. Okay, I probably shouldn't say desperately. I'm not a pot smoker myself, but I'm definitely in favor of people doing whatever they want. Plus, I'm sick of people of color, mostly blacks, being put in jail and having their lives ruined over bullshit laws like marijuana prohibition. I'm fucking tired of that. But this law was not the way to go. To me personally, this law was like if your parents bought you a car, but they said that you could only go 10 places of their choosing. I don't know about you, but I would just say, fuck off. I mean, I wouldn't say fuck off because then I'd get my lips slapped off, but I would say, no thank you, I will buy my own car, or I will wait until you give me a better deal than that. And that is what I think Ohioans should do. Wait another year. Just wait another year. It's not that long, and it'll be an election season just wait. Wait it out. It's not that bad, just if you wait it out, and you know what, while you're waiting, why not tell your lawmakers to give you a better deal? I say wait, but also let them know why you didn't want this law to pass. Tell them you shouldn't have just 10 different, only 10 marijuana dispensaries across the state that just funnel more money up to the top. You should be able to have as many as you want. You shouldn't have limits on the amount of pot you're allowed to smoke. I mean, unless you're driving or something like that. But you can drink as much as you want. You can smoke as many cigarettes as you can afford. You should be able to smoke as much pot as you want too. Here is my advice. Tell your lawmakers to go eat a fucking dick and give you the pot law that you fucking deserve. See, to me, you all should be allowed to blow smoke. Blow smoke, not your lawmakers. Thank you. That is our show for today.